Hello, good evening. I hope that you guys had a really good Monday and a good start to your week. I think for me, for the most part, I think it was pretty good. I got to have lunch with my husband, which if you're ever in the area, in the St. Louis area, and you go by a Sugar Fire for barbecue, they really have this really cool au jus dip for their brisket sandwich. It is so good. I usually get like a sandwich and fries when I go there, so we did that. And he realized that the chair I'd been using in my room was so beat up. He's like, I didn't realize that it was that bad. So he treated me to a new chair. So I'm really happy to announce that we were able to get a chair, and we even got it on sale from Office Max, which was cool. And other than that, took the kids to the grocery store, did some grocery shopping, came back home, and things have been good. So overall, I think it's been a good day. And I'm really excited tonight to start with switching gears a bit, and we're going to go and delve into the minor arcana. So the difference between the majors and the minors, which I may have touched on before when I was going through each major, was with the major arcana, those are about the big changes and happenings and goings on in life. Gosh, I can never get my wording right. The minor arcana is the day-to-day mundane type things that we go through. So actually, when I catch you guys up about my day, when I come on and say hello before I even get into my teaching, I'm actually catching you up more or less on the minor arcana type stuff. So that's a good example of that, I think. So I think we will move forward here. So tonight we will learn about the Ace of Cups. And I'll hold this up so that you can see it. And we'll go into some of the symbols that we're seeing here. By the way, hi Tim, I see that you're on. So it's not like the major arcana. As far as like, yes, there'll be numbers on the cards and stuff at times, but other times it will be in this format. So like with this is generally an Ace of Cups. Aces generally, it will say Ace of Cups on it. There may be a 1. It just depends on artistic expression, like I've told you guys with these cards. And what we're seeing is a hand that protrudes from the clouds, and that symbolizes divine influence. So whoever you revere in your faith as your creator, in whatever shape or form that takes, that's divine influence. And the cup holds all this water. And if you remember, I've told you guys about how the water is equivalent to emotion in tarot. So this cup is so full that it runneth over into this body of water where we have lily pads and pink lotus plants that are blooming. And then we're also seeing a bird from above the cup, and it is approaching the cup with what could be construed as, say, a wafer. So this cup is actually looked at as, say, similar to the Holy Grail, which I researched that. Like the terminology was familiar to me, but I couldn't place the meaning. The Holy Grail references the cup that Jesus Christ drank from. And so from the Catholic religion, so keep in mind, the stuff dates back to the 1500s, where it was known as Tarocchi, and it was in Italy, and people, predominantly Catholics, utilize what we know as the tarot deck. So we see a lot of Catholic influences. So with this dove flying downward, it would be the equivalent of a wafer in its beak, which would be symbolic of, say, the body of Christ. So the way that this is interpreted from that viewpoint is, again, very much the divine influence that helps keep that cup very full. So somebody is very much in touch with their spirituality, and they're also in a very good place emotionally. It kind of alludes to that saying, my cup runneth over, or my cup runs over, which means that life is good. Like that somebody's had all these blessings that literally their cup is full and runs over, or runneth over. And so here we have 5 different, like, I don't know if you would call those like, I hate to say fountain, but you see 5 different little things of water coming out of that cup. And so those are interpreted differently. Like one thing I read referenced it is referencing a Hebrew word, which I can't even remember what that was. And then another one says it's symbolic of the 5 senses. So basically, this is somebody who's very emotionally fulfilled, very in touch with the intuitive, which is, it's like those high priestess vibes that we were talking about in the major arcana. And whatever they do, and they invest that love and energy into this new beginning. So with it being an ace, we're at the very beginning of the cup suit. So you're talking about new friendships, relationships. It could be finding commonality with your coworkers, establishing that really cool camaraderie and rapport. It could be, I don't know, just like as far as your finances go, maybe even because of your hard work and all of your efforts, you finally get that promotion and pay raise, and it makes you feel so happy and successful and accomplished because you earned it. And basically, like a lot of new leaders, they want to go ahead and just kick some butt and go toward their staff and project improvement. And it's that feeling that I'm referencing where it's like a high, like an adrenaline rush, that excited feeling. Whatever efforts are expended into these endeavors, whether it be relationships with others or projects or what have you, is going to be a lot of love. So like, for example, food that's made with a lot of care and love, you can taste it in the food. I really do believe that, versus food that doesn't really taste all that great because somebody put like a half what effort into it, Now, as far as the symbol on the cup, which could be construed as a W or an upside down M, I could not find a meaning for that. And even a lot of the things I was reading said really they do not know what that means. And then so of course we have this big body of water. Okay. So from investing the resources, taking advantage of this emotional state, right? Which we're in a good way. Being an ace, it's the beginning, okay, of all these various things we've been discussing. Then there are the green lily pads and the pink lotus plants blooming. So it's showing that from these efforts that it's going to be like a productive start. Like it's investing that energy. Now, another way of seeing this card, and I generally don't delve too much into reversals because it's like a whole other thing, honestly. And when you're beginning, when you're starting out, do what resonates for you. But I would generally say don't even try to mess around with reversals unless you really feel like it resonates with you and you know what you're looking at. But I did discover, which I kind of knew this from doing readings. I intuitively figured it out because of how it looks. So the Ace of Cups, when it's in reverse in tarot, it is known as the card. It tells you that you need to do self-care, because you remember, if you watched my Go Lives last night, I referenced about how important it is to take care of yourself, because you cannot give from an empty cup. You literally can't. And so with the cup facing this direction, then we don't have the emotional good juju. We're not in a good place to be able to give to other people and projects. And so this cup, also known as a chalice, it wouldn't be able to hold anything. So being that it would be upside down and the water would be leaving the cup and not being invested in these things, then it would reflect the need to fill your cup literally and take a pause and not proceed on various relationships and projects. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then with this card, the background's like white. So that doesn't really tell us a whole lot. The chalice in question is like a gold color. So with gold or yellow, you know, we always think of enlightenment, knowledge, and all this good stuff. And yeah, I know we talked about the water. So in a nutshell, that's the Ace of Cups. I'm just going to review my notes to make sure I didn't forget to mention anything here. Let's see. So it also stands for compassion. This card does. It also mentioned that creativity was a common descriptor of the card. But when I think of creativity, like that's your wands, right? Is being creative. But the way I interpret other people's interpretation, because again, there's no right or wrong with tarot, right? Again, very intuitive meanings. But in order to do well on any endeavor, whether it be relationships with others or projects, it helps to have our heart in the right place. And I know you guys have probably heard that reference before. So again, abundant emotion, intuition, and let's see. And it's basically showing that this is also a card of being very emotionally full, which I think we've covered that. And giving and helping others. So I could see that if someone is very full, they want to be able to help others feel the same way. So a lot of times, many of us are engaged in lines of work where you want to help others because, like for me, an example would be I love tarot so much, and I have for years now, and it's helped me out so much, and I think it's very fun to do too. I want to share that love of tarot and the happiness it's brought me. So this card to me resonates with me teaching you guys on our tarot teaching moments, and with even doing my small business to where I do readings for people, because to me, I'm able to help others with using tarot, right? And it helps keep my cup full. So it's a mutually beneficial thing. So that's an example of, say, an Ace of Cups. You know, it would be me, say, for example, doing those readings for others and helping them see their potential and having those conversations about how to navigate the harder aspects in life that come up, to where someone just doesn't feel alone and they have somebody to talk to, and maybe every so often finding some joy even in the toughest readings, and because there are some tough readings, and then having those moments of joy and laughter, like you can't beat that. So that in a nutshell is our Ace of Cups, and I have our other cards for comparison. So I'll let you guys see that. So with here, so you see how the heart is literally inside this cup, and there's a lot of yellow light coming from around that heart in the cup, and we see a flow of water. So by looking at this, we don't know if the water is leaving the cup or if she's drawing into that cup. And I think, honestly, in order to be successful at taking care of ourselves and others, there's got to be a bit of both, because, again, we cannot give from an empty cup. And it's the way I love the artist, or I love the way the artist drew the hands here. So she is using that inner happiness and joy to be able to use her hands to shape it, to use this energy in a productive way. And it also reflects the beauty in that, because in this card, they're not focusing on her body or her face. The focus is all on that cup and her hands. And I just think it's beautiful. And her garment is blue. So when we talk colors, so with it being blue, we're thinking about truth, calmness, you know, blue skies, tranquility. It's a good thing. And then we have this one, where it shows this young lady and the water is literally coming out of her. And it's going in such a way, it looks like a crescent moon to me, but it leaves her person. So we don't know if it's somehow gonna land in the cup. But right now, the cup, to me, looking at the picture, is not quite far enough over to where it would be able to catch all of this. So it shows how she's giving very much a lot of herself toward this endeavor, and the way that she's looking up, you know, at the sky with her eyes open, her hair blowing in the wind, and not to mention her dress going backward. Because in the card, she's actually looking forward while expelling this water, this emotion, and she's shaping and forming it to her will, like what she chooses to invest that good energy into, that good emotion, that happiness. But it's going to be important for her to refill that cup, because you can see there's considerable water leaving her. So if she doesn't take the energy, or not the energy, but if she doesn't take the time to refill her cup, there will be nothing left to give. And then the background is very just kind of barren, a bit mountainous in the background. And I think this resonates with me too, because we usually want to spend our efforts and time where we feel like we're needed. And see, that's a great thing because it helps to make a difference in the world. However, things can be very stressful and challenging and taxing. So it shows that energy expenditure, you know, and the cost of it, which would be an empty cup, you know. And then the winds could be like the winds of change in the picture, you know. And then here we see a crow, and it's seated on the very rim of this cup with the water overflowing into a body of water. It looks to be a pond. And then we also have the pink lotus flowers. So again, putting that energy into the friendships, relationships, and projects to help, you know, ideally get good results and outcomes. And even though there's a lot of unknowns, we don't have full visibility, there's that big, beautiful sun that's very prominent behind the crow and cup. So we have awakening, clarity, insight, knowledge. So it's using all this in addition to those feel-good emotions and our strength in our relative faiths that make this an exciting beginning of the cup journey. Hello. Let's see. Now, I'm going to try to say your name right. And if I say it wrong, you please correct me, okay? Is it Sharon? If so, I think I said it right. Let me know if I said it correctly. Welcome to the group, and thanks for coming to my Go Live. And I see my mom's on here. Hi, Mom. So with this, so we have a little bit of uncertainty, and I think that's with anything in life when we start a new friendship, relationship, or what have you, or starting a new project. There, of course, there's a little bit of uncertainty, but it's just putting one foot in front of the other and persevering forward anyway. And then here we see to be like a little crow, and he is going, say, south. And it looks to be like, it's hard to say what that is in the background, but it's yellow coloration. So again, there's that warmth and light. And then we have a lot of blue, brown, and black tones. So there's feelings of like calm and tranquility and truth when we think of blue. And then with the black, it's more of the unknown. It could be the stress. Think of things that you associate with the color black. But yeah, and then around the pond, it's a brown color. So I think as long as there's a balance between keeping the cup full and then utilizing our emotion and intuition on our relationships or projects, then this pond will grow in size and we'll have more lily pads and lotuses and beauty and growth. But it is a bit of a balance, which, you know, it's something how stuff plays out. In my mind, I think of the Temperance card where you got that balance. You got to maintain a balance with water in that card. So that's a big part too of the Ace of Cups, you know. It's just exciting because there's just so much potential at the beginning of a journey. And then, I always leave, our studies with a card that's not based in Rider-Waite Smith. Now, this one, I honestly don't get any of the vibes like I did off the other cards, and I'll hold it up here. So we see this poor little bird. It looks to be a bluebird, and he is looking upward. There is a crown above his head, and the poor guy somehow got stuck in a skull. I mean, honestly, in comparison to what we've been covering with the Ace of Cups, when I see this card, I think of more like death, which, is synonymous with change, transition in life. I don't get the same vibes as I would with, say, the Ace of Cups. So that's why, I know I sound like a little bit of a broken record, but I suppose it's okay because I'm teaching. That's why it's so important when people are starting out with tarot that they are using decks based in Rider-Waite Smith, because it may not have all of the symbols, but you're going to find a lot of commonality, And say after you read tarot for a while and you want to go to a non-conventional deck, I would say that's fine, but it doesn't hurt to have your deck based in Rider-Waite Smith to where you could put, say, the Rider-Waite Smith card next to the card and see what are the similarities. Okay, maybe pay attention to detail, what's missing, and then kind of grow from there, if that makes sense, because this is like our foundation, which would be the Rider-Waite Smith. So I think that sums us up on the Ace of Cups. And so my plan is so every evening I'll hop on and do what I've been doing. So tomorrow it will be the Two of Cups. We'll talk about the significance of that. And I want to make sure that this is a very productive experience as well, because I love hearing your feedback as well, to where it's not like a one-sided narrative, which is, I can talk, obviously, but I prefer to have that interaction. So say if you have any ideas, like, let me know if there's something in the group you'd like us to review or do. I'm open to that. And of course, if you ever need a reading, just look me up, send me a message, or look at my website. And check me out, and we'll figure out the details. And I am happy to announce that I have everything I needed from the state of Missouri to where I can start selling products on my website. So in addition to my readings very soon, and once it's on and it's live, I'll let you know, but I'm going to be selling my homemade candles, which are made with soy wax and flower petals and fragrance, and all the good juju is put in my candles. So I'm going to do that. And I think that's the gist of it for tonight. Feel free. Sometimes when I'm doing these go lives, I can't see the comments. Leave me a comment and tell me how you're doing tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. Good night.